Hi everyone, it's Fiona again. Welcome back to my channel. And today I wanted to show you how I make faux leather out of craft cardstock. There's lots of different ways of doing this, but I just wanted to show you how I do it, as I'm wanting to make a faux leather journal cover. So you can use any colour cardstock, just depending on what colour leather you'd like to do. But I like to use the craft cardstock because it's already got the brownish tinge to it. And the way that I do it, what you're going to need is some glycerin and some water. So in a little squirty bottle, I put about 1 part glycerin to about 6 parts water. And what's going to happen is the glycerin is going to break down the paper fibres so that it becomes pliable. And when you do this method, at the end it actually looks and feels very much like leather. And because you also back it with fabric, you can't tear it either. So I really like this method. So I'm just going to start spraying the paper with the glycerin and water mix. Just sort of tapping it in. I don't want to rub it too much because you end up getting little fibres of paper coming off if you rub it too much. But just sort of tap it in and it'll soak in there and start breaking it down. Turn over and do the other side. Start to sort of fold it and bend it and see how flexible it's becoming. I like to do this a couple of times before I fold it. We'll screw it up into a ball after we've done this 2 or 3 times. Sorry about my phone going off in the background there. Okay, so now I'm going to screw it up into a ball, and you still have to be careful because the paper's still quite delicate at this stage. Unwrap it again. Okay, so you're sort of starting to get a leathery look. And I'm just going to do that one more time. Once more. You can also do this as many times as you like, depending on how creasy you want it to look, but just be really careful with the paper. Okay, so I've just done that twice. Now at this stage, if you want to, you can run this through an embossing machine and you can actually emboss it if you want to, and then allow it to dry. I'm going to start rubbing some inks over. And this one is tea dye from Tim Holtz Distress Ink. Just really gently. And you can see hopefully how that's, yeah, you can see how that's catching the folds. Then if you want to, you can go over with a darker colour, but we will be adding more ink when it's dry. Okay, so I'm just going to leave it like that for now, and then I'm going to go ahead and let this dry, and I'll be back. Okay, so I'm back and this is now dry. So for the next step, I've got some raw umber acrylic paint here, and so that's just basically a dark brown. You can use any dark brown or colour that you like, depending on the colour leather that you want. And then I'm adding some red oxide to mine because I want it to have that little bit of a reddish tinge. But I'm not going to use the pure acrylic paint because we don't want a thick coat of just pure acrylic paint to cover everything. We want it a little bit more of a glaze, so that you can still see the underneath bits through there. So I'm adding it to some gel medium. You can use glazing medium as well if you have it. But the gel medium gives it a nice finish and a nice shiny finish. I'm just going to mix about equal parts of the brown and red. And yeah, you can use any brown and red, as I said. Or you might add blue, or you might have add a touch of green or yellow. It just depends on what sort of leather look you're going for. So you can experiment with different colours, and you can also experiment with different colours of cardstock. Just mixing them together. It's a bit more of a red, really. Brownish red. Just a little bit more brown in there. Where did I put it? Here it is. Very strong red, that one. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is add about an equal part of gel medium. I'm not sure where I put my palette knife. Let's just use this brush again. So whatever amount of paint I've got there, roughly about the same amount of gel medium. Maybe even a tiny bit more because we do want it to be a glaze. There we go. So now we just paint it on. Get into all those little cracks and crevices. Try to spread it out as much as you can so that you can still see the textures underneath and the sort of variation in the colour underneath. So you can see, I think you can see that there, that we've still got these darker ridges here that are still showing through on the creases there, and there's a little bit of variation in the colours, which I like because that's making it look like old leather. Probably could have added more brown to this, but this is okay. It's a nice reddish brown leather. This should give us a nice shiny finish, as I said, but if it's not, if you want it shinier, you can just add another coat of gel medium over the top, or you can use a varnish, just a quick drying varnish if you prefer. And another thing I've seen people use as well is shoe polish. So if you didn't want to add the acrylic paint with the gel medium, you could just add some varnish over the top of this and then add a bit of shoe polish to add some colour. You can see that it did tear in a couple of places, but you can just go over that. Okay, so that's the next step. So I'm just going to let this dry and I'll be back again. Okay, so this is the result when it's dry. And it looks and feels a lot like leather. Now, if you're not happy with just leaving it like this, you can go ahead and you can put some more ink down. Maybe you want some more dark bits of ink on the creasy parts if you want to. Or you might want to add some different colour. You might want to use some paint. You can maybe use some gold paint and do a bit of dry brushing, which means dry brushing just means you don't have any water on your brush, just the tiniest bit of paint, and just sort of brush it over those creases there if you want to add something more. But yeah, I'm going to leave this one like it is. So the next step is to glue it down onto some fabric. So I'm using a Mod Podge type of glue. So I'm just going to paint it on. And as I said, if you don't have the gel medium for the other side, although I think gel medium does the best job, you can use a clear glazing medium, glazing liquid, and mix that with the paint. Actually, hope I don't have too much glue here. It's okay because it's going to dry clear. But this is what's going to make it more durable. You won't be able to rip it at all, just like real leather. When you add the fabric, you can also add felt, piece of felt. I'm adding some coffee dyed fabric. This one, okay, so let's glue that down. Good. Tiny bit more under here. And now all that's left to do is to cut around those edges. And you'll be able to see what it's like when it's done. You don't have to cut all the way to the edge if you don't want to. I'm going to cut just a little bit out from the edge. And if you like the look, you could fray the fabric a little bit. And you could use this as it is, just as a cover, or another way that I'm going to do a hardcover journal with the leather cover, is to don't worry about gluing the fabric onto the back. Just glue your leather sheet straight down onto your hardcover. Do it that way. This glue is probably not quite dry, but I just wanted to show you. Oops, I've doubled that up there. Okay, so I'm going to have to add a little bit more glue to my corners, but yeah, I might cut it down a bit smaller anyway and round my corners for a book cover. But that is the completed leather, faux leather. It's not going to rip, it's not going to tear, and it's amazing how much it feels like leather too. So I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. I'll see you in the next video. Thanks guys, bye bye.